Okay? Now here's the point. I'm here killing myself here. Now here's the point. We have a website. We have sign writers. Do you think we're ahead of the rest of the industry with this one? There's no comparison. Now, the last point here, because of Real Living, we can advertise, welcome to Oregon, where Real Living begins. Welcome to Washington, where Real Living begins. You can go on listing probably, you can walk to the house. Now, this is where Real Living begins. But that doesn't mean all of you do that. But that's how we're going to get deeply immersed into our differentiation. Now, can somebody say, welcome to Charlotte, where Keller Williams begins? That's why we're the third most recognizable. We're the tiniest brand, and we're the third most recognizable. We're on the verge of exploding now. There's things in the works that you'll be hearing about in terms of new companies, this and that, because of all the new team, with Rosalie coming over from heading up Prudential. Now, Rosalie is by all intents and purposes managing Real Living. I'm just the blowhard here with creating products, but Rosalie is running the company, okay? And the thing is this, and she ran Prudential. But the point is this, so I'm encouraging you to have in windows, to have on billboards. Because if you have, for example, welcome to Vancouver, where Real Living begins, do you think Keller Williams wants you to do that? No, because they can't do that. The best thing to do is to do things that bother your competitors. I live for that. Do you think at 6'2" I was drafted by the NBA because I'm not competitive? I hate all these other companies. Welcome to Charlotte. I don't even shake their hands when I go to. I don't want to meet them. I hate them all. Okay? Welcome to Charlotte, where Real Living begins. Now, Real Estate Lifestyle Planning Guide. I said earlier, what do you do that no one else does? I like to live in the real world, not theory. Some people may have thought when I was there with Realtor.com, like in New Orleans, that I was up there as a theorist, as opposed to building a company from scratch, okay? But now they know better. But the point is this. What do we do that other companies don't do? My partner, who was the most charismatic person ever, he was a builder, Joe Murphy. This is 30 years ago. We did homes guides in 6 different languages. So this here is in Chinese, 30 years ago, in 4 color. 30 years ago. Do you think we're ahead of our time? So when I say, what are you doing that no one else is doing, you've got to have this differentiation. Neighbors know best, no one's doing that. I'm going to get to other things that no one's doing. The luxury lifestyle division, downsize with distinction. And the other thing is this. I came up with the state slogan for New Jersey. New Jersey is a great place to visit and an even greater place to live. I'm here with Senator Lautenberg. We had thousands of homeowners all over New Jersey with the bumper sticker. I then wrote a video for New Jersey for Charlie's company. I saw Einstein on a billboard, and it occurred to me the two most notable geniuses in the history of America, Einstein and Edison, both voluntarily moved to New Jersey. So I wrote a video, a move to New Jersey, a genius decision. It's their #1 listing tool. Google it on the internet. Because the only way you have access to people is through their concerns. And I don't see anybody in this marketplace marketing the area as much as you could be. But no one can market these areas as much as Real Living can. That's what we have to have our focus. Now, so this is something that no one else did. But here's something else I did. In the late 1980s, our market crashed. Homes, I listed President Nixon's home, like I said, in that town, Saddle River. The average price, 30, was over $1 million. Homes that used to be worth $3 million were now $1 million. Homes that were $900,000 were $500,000. It was worse than happened in 2008. So I had created every national marketing system for Better Homes and Gardens, but I had to come up with a solution. So I created this. It was called the Real Estate Financial Planning System. This is 1989. I asked myself this question. What percentage of consumers regret not owning enough real estate? Everybody. What percentage of consumers have developed a real estate plan for life? 0. That's a marketing opportunity. How are we responding to it? We're sending people pumpkins, calendars, refrigerator magnets, spouses selling houses, the home team, but it has nothing to do with stimulating interest in buying and selling real estate. fact, I had somebody come up to me, I said the other week, I had somebody come up to me years ago, when I was with Realtor. He says, Mr. Dalton, I'm no longer on the supermarket carriage, just thanks to you. I said, well, really? Well, it was something else too. What happened? He said, well, I went home to dinner one night, and my 12-year-old daughter was weeping, and I said, honey, what is it? She goes, Daddy, all my friends at school think you're missing. Okay? But the point is this. But all the supermarket carriages, all the refrigerator magnets, do you think any of that elevates your value? It's like a home seller saying, do we really have to pay 6% for this $1 million property? Do we have to pay $60,000? Does it really cost you that much? No, of course it doesn't cost that much to market your home. But do you know what it costs me to be on billboards? To do client appreciation parties? To put my picture everywhere? Okay? And see, that's why they think that they're subsidizing inefficient run industry. So I created the real estate financial planning system. Okay? How to invest, what percentage of your net worth is because of real estate. See, no financial planner would ever ask people what percentage of your net worth is because of real estate, because they sell other asset classes, they sell against us, okay? I had a personality profile because sometimes the wife wanted to live in the city and the husband in the mountains, okay? So I had to resolve that cognitive dissonance and conflict. How to move up analysis, how to increase the value. I created the home merchandise system for bedrooms and gardens because the industry only uses the word staging. But staging is only when they're getting the home ready. Merchandising is to renew a kitchen even if we're not moving for 3 years. But we don't insert ourselves there because we're sending pumpkins. Okay? And then how to put together their goals. Then when I was with Realtor.com, I came up with another program that we couldn't launch for a lot of different reasons. And so then what I've done is I've brought this idea. Now, by the way, this is 30 years ago. Would you say this is ahead of its time? And so now the market's ready for it. And so what I've created, and I've written, and Marie and Wendy have produced, is the Real Living Lifestyle Planning Guide. Because here's the problem. People have one doctor, one dentist, one attorney. What time is it? They have one. Yeah, people have one doctor, one dentist, one attorney, and they've got 5 realtors. Do you agree with that? So, and not only that, how many years, who's been in the business for 20 years? Okay, your name please?
Scott Combs.
Scott, okay, Scott, are you confident that if you retired today that you could sell your business for a lot of money?
No.
Okay. Now, if you were 20 years as a doctor or a financial planner, or an attorney, do you think you'd be more able to sell your business?
Yes.
Do you know why? Because we live in the world, all wisdom begins by properly naming things, because we live in the world of consumers and customers, and we think the word client only defines agency during a transaction. See, attorneys, some of you belong to a certain religion, even if you don't go to church or temple, synagogue, or whatever, you still believe you belong to that religion. We have never basically thought intelligently and strategically on how to create clients for life. Now, Brian Buffini, Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, Debbie DeGroat have performed a profoundly important and valuable service for the industry because they've helped tens of thousands of agents make a lot more money than they would have. And the reason why people will say, I'm a Buffiniite, I'm a Ferriite. Have you ever heard that? Mm-hmm. The reason people will say that is because Brian Buffini isn't sending you calendars. Mike Ferry isn't sending pumpkin recipes, okay? Because what they're doing is that they're providing valuable content and concepts that help your life. Would you agree with me? We don't emulate what they do because you go to real estate seminars, they give them, but you don't provide them. Everything we do is backwards. See, while if the consumer wants to learn about real estate, they go to a bookstore, they go to the real estate section. Virtually every book was not written from within our industry. While you're going to a seminar to hear a speaker, there's 400 people, consumers, at the Marriott, listening to some pinstripe suit charlatan talk about how to buy real estate with no money down, because we're not in the real estate business. We're not in the content business. We're in the listing business. But there's no longer enough value in the listing. So what we have to do as an industry, and Real Living is the first to understand this by far, is that we have to basically find a way to create clients for life. But you can't create clients for life if you don't have a plan for life. Because the person who's a financial planner, they can sell their clients because they have a database. They don't have a Rolodex or a database of people's names. They, like doctors and family doctors, they have files. They have dossiers. They have deep information. They've developed intimacy that transcends. Just like some people won't move this from their state if they thought they had to leave behind their therapist. We are basically transactionally driven, we're not relationally driven. And so we created the real estate lifestyle planning guide that you can use as a PDF, you can email it, or you can have it open houses, you can have face-to-face. And here's my advice to you. You've got to take every person that you have ever known and you've got to get this into their hands. You've got to email this to them, you've got to hand this to them, because what message does it say to them when you say, by the way, because we're Real Living, we've come up with this program, because a lot of people end up regretting where they moved to, how they live, they missed the market, okay? And I'm not just interested in helping you buy, sell a home right now. I'd like to help you plan for the rest of your life to make sure that you're always making the right decisions. And I'm going to send you something. What do you think that would evoke from the consumer? How do you think they feel about you? Anybody?
I think they feel like you care about them.
They feel like you care about them, and you'd be announcing, I'm not just here because I've got to make a sale so I can get to the racetrack. You're basically saying to them, I'm a professional who is now operating in the same fashion and modality as lawyers do, as doctors do, as financial planners do. And you're not just expressing your whole value around a transaction, because every transaction can be done more economically, and as technology advances, consumers think that the efficiency of technology will downstream lower cost to them. And so, when people talk about disruption, you've got to be the disruptor. What you have to do is that you have to disrupt the pre-existing relationships that exist between your competitors and other homeowners in the areas that you serve. Because people have 2 or 3 different agents that they know. You've got to leapfrog everybody. And once people make a commitment to start thinking of you as somebody that wants to engage them strategically over their whole life, they're not going to seek that same relationship out. They're not going to try to transfer that intimacy to anybody else. And this is just proven by the behavior in almost all other professions. People will even say, I belong to Costco. I'm part of Marriott Rewards. See, we belong to things. I'm a Ferryite, I'm a Buffiniite, but I don't have 1,000 people saying I'm a Sessionite. That's what you have to do. Because if we allow the consumer to wait until they have a listing need, see, it didn't hurt us giving up the first point of contact with the buyers. Giving up the first point of contact with the listing side, all I can say is this: I'm happy I'm at the end of my career, and nearing the end of my career. Because I'll tell you right now, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty unless we come up with methods to recharacterize, reshape, and reimagine the way in which we serve homeowners. And if we wait until there's a spontaneous need, it's going to be too late. And we're the first company that has addressed this because of the Marvel method. And also, I said this last night at dinner, lifestyle advisor to me is much more acceptable to consumer than a trusted advisor. And I'll tell you why. It's hard for people to logically trust somebody that has a different spirit of intent than they have. See, we celebrate how we sell more homes versus how we sell homes for more. In Australia, they're looking to ban realtors from being involved in the pricing, because your spirit of intent is you want to get the home sold. They want the home sold for the most amount of money. That's why we still actually have realtors that will say this to a home seller. Oftentimes, the first offer is the best offer. Do you think people still say that? We're less likely to say oftentimes the first offer is the worst offer. People aren't stupid. They understand. It doesn't mean any of us are less ethical or less, our ethos is flawed. It's just that when you're in a straight commission, transaction to transaction driven business, it's tough for home sellers to think that everything you say is coming from what's best for them. That sometimes it could be motivated by what could be better for you as well. But lifestyle advisor, I think, and not only that, people buy trust. I said this last night at dinner. Doctors don't have to say, you can trust me. Well, oh, by the way, you can trust me. Really, you can't. No, seriously. It's like at the end of every sentence, Donald Trump says, believe me. You start to wonder, believe me, believe me, believe me. You can believe me, okay? And I'm not being political. I'm just saying it's just interesting, the patterns of behavior and speech in terms of that. But I think that you've got to start thinking is that how many of you want to be in this business for 5 or 10 more years? May I see your hands? Then I think you've got to be all in. If you've got to be all in terms of being a lifestyle advisor. And I'll say this, talk about Mike Ferry and Brian Buffini. If Brian Buffini at his event, for his followers, which are substantial, if he, and this is all the pages, how to move up, how to downsize, moving with children, at the back of the lifestyle planning guide, they list who their doctor is, their financial advisor, their real estate agents, okay? You want to have hundreds and thousands of people having your name there with your phone number, along with everybody else. Now, if a Mike Ferry or a Brian Buffini introduced this at the convention, what do you think the reaction would be? What do you think?
Amazing.
How do you think the audience would respond? If Brian or Mike Ferry came out, would we have, for our clients, the lifestyle planning guide?
They love it.
Do you think they'd go crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going crazy? Okay. But the point is this. No, and I'm just saying that to put it in perspective, because you may not be aware of how vital and powerful this program is. And you're going to be in this business a lot longer than I'm going to be in this business. And I'm telling you right now, this to me is the single greatest opportunity to lock down hundreds and thousands of people and start to have them think that you're their agent for life. So when they look to sell their home, they're not going to see an ad on TV that Redfin will give them back money. Okay, or someone's going to do this. You're working too hard to not do this for yourself. Now, I want to end on this one thing. I've always said that you've got to be the most successful people I've ever known. They're either unbelievably nice or they're unbelievably nasty. Okay? It's the people that are in between the elevator music that don't get attention. I bet the top people in this marketplace, people either think they're the nicest or they're the nastiest. Would you agree with that? That's just how it is. And you've got to decide. I've always had the nicest language, but sometimes you've got to be strong. Like, for example, when my sister got married, my sister was dating somebody for 5 years. They were engaged. He called it off. She was devastated, inconsolable. Then she met this person. He proposed to her. He was a 3-time All-American football player at Notre Dame. He was 3rd in the Heisman. He's now an oral surgeon. He proposed to her. I says, Kathy, congratulations. When's the wedding? She goes, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to marry him. I said, why not? Do you love him? I love him tremendously. Then what's the problem? She goes, well, he kind of like thinks he's better than me. I says, Kathy, he is better than you. You're supposed to marry up. That's the idea, okay? But the last thing I'm saying is this. I think you've got to have a strategy for expireds, for FSBOs, for clients for life. You've got to have a presentation that people can't resist. You've got to carve out what's your area, what's your addressable marketplace, how are you going to stay in touch with people, because there's really an opportunity to make a fortune in this business. But the last thing we came out with, this real estate lifestyle planning guide, every single week you should be asking, how many more people do they have this from me? With a cover letter, we have cover letters on the resource center for you, cover letters at open houses, and then start treating them and thinking them as your clients. Call them, just wanted to call, just following up, okay? That's the time to do it, because in 2 or 3 years, I believe this is the only way the industry is gonna withstand the pressure on fees if we remain transactional. So with that, I want to say a few closing thoughts about the company. At the Pacesetters meeting, all the brokers within Real Living, they exchange ideas. I've never met anybody running a company whose entire focus on every question and every comment was more, how can we help our agents more than Chad and Holly, okay? And so that just tells me that you couldn't have leadership that cares more humanistically about all of you. And you couldn't have a more sharp on the ball person than Stacy in terms of everything in terms of technology and marketing. You're living in a beautiful area. God bless you, and I hope some of this will help you become a